Hello, everyone. Omar.
Hi.
Hello. How you doing?
Great.
Thank you for this opportunity. Before we begin, I want to let the crowd know that throughout the conversation, you will see a poll coming up on the screen. So we encourage you to go into the app and vote whatever you feel is the answer. Okay? So just for you to know. Okay? Omar, I think everybody here is watching from around the world, and the Saudi Pro League has just been at the center of, the football industry with everything that you guys are doing and how you're, transforming the industry as a whole. So, I just want to start by understanding how have you experienced that, throughout this period.
Well, thank you, first of all. And I want to welcome everybody to the beautiful city of Riyadh. Thank you for being here, and thank you for giving us a chance to tell our amazing story of growth and transformation. We've been busy, to sum it up. I think we've set ourselves on a very exciting journey, a journey that is about truly transforming the game from the ground up, looking at all different aspects of the game, be it regulatory or from a fan experience or even from the relationship and the role that the clubs have in this journey. It's been full of excitement, full of a lot of learnings, and it's a journey that we continue to push further. But it's also been a journey of some misunderstandings, and it's our role to actually share our story with the world, to really give a reflection of all the great work that's happening in the league in Saudi.
Actually, that's a good point. So can you help us giving us an overview of that transformation that you guys are doing?
So it's the way we approach it was a complete 360 approach. We wanted to make sure that we were not only looking at specific aspects, but looking at the totality of the game. So there's a lot of work that we've been working on in terms of the regulatory reform. How do we update our regulations to make sure that they are fit for the times that we're in? We've been partnering a lot with the clubs to change how we manage different elements, be it commercialization, marketing, fan engagement, and financial governance. And maybe the one thing that most people got excited or exposed to, what we're doing in terms of attracting global superstars into our league, but it's much more than that when it comes to player development. So really looking at the total player journey end to end, from scouting to signing to performance development. And we've been quite focused in building internal capability, data, systems, process, etc., but also sharing this knowledge and transferring this knowledge with our member clubs. So like I said, we look at the total game end to end because we have many football enthusiasts and stakeholders in this transformation, and we want to make sure that we are giving everything equal focus and weight. Okay,
thank you. I understand. So it's kind of like the what, but I guess I'm curious about the why. Why have you set out on this journey? I guess if I had to summarize it in two questions is why this, and why was now the time to do this?
Well, simply put, because football runs in our blood. We are a football-loving nation. We grew up watching football. We grew up participating in football, be it in our neighborhoods, in our schools, etc. And it's something that is deeply ingrained in our culture and society. And football is life in Saudi. So it was only befitting that with all the transformation that's happening in all different sectors, that we build a national product that we can all be proud of, that we export to the world.
And one question, Omar, because one of the, let's say, highlights, it's not the only thing because we're going to discuss that, but one of the highlights is your ability to welcome top-tier players to the league. And as I understand it, on this journey, you've actually developed a player acquisition center, if I'm not mistaken. No? So can you tell us what is that? What does it mean?
So PACE, which is Player Acquisition Center of Excellence, was a program that was developed as part of our long-term strategy. The objective behind it was to accelerate a certain aspect of the league, but it was also to institutionalize a mindset and a process of how we attract players and how do we manage the relationship moving forward. So it's really about how do we accelerate the development of the league. It's about how do we professionalize the transfer and player management, but also how do we develop knowledge and know-how and share that with our member clubs. So it's like I mentioned earlier, it's really about the end-to-end player management system. And we play a role of sharing the process, the data, the know-how, and the clubs play a role of actually using those tools to make better technical and financial decisions.
Mm-hmm. I like that, because at the end of the day, it kind of like aligns with what we're trying to do here today between all of us, kind of like enable this knowledge sharing between people coming from all over the world. I think it makes sense. We want to grow the league, grow the industry as a whole. We need more knowledge, no? And one of the things that you guys are doing is supporting clubs. So can you go into a little bit of the detail of how you're providing that support?
Yeah, well, I think for starters, it's important to highlight that there is no league without the clubs. We work quite hard in developing and filling the gaps that might exist by looking at how we can develop the knowledge and the know-how and expertise within the league, but then how do we share that and transfer that to the clubs. And there are quite a few pillars that we've either started working on or worked on or about to work on. We've been working a lot in terms of financial governance. How do we support and aid the clubs in making better financial decisions with the partnership with the different entities like the Federation and the Ministry of Sports. We've also, the whole topic of PACE, or the player acquisition, is another form of how we provide expertise and know-how and tools for the clubs. We recently also started testing with specific clubs on how to improve fan engagement, marketing, and branding. We've seen a lot of great results from those pilots. And today we're also talking to clubs about how do we increase their revenue, ability to generate revenue and monetize their different commercial assets. So it's an ongoing process. We've decided to kind of prioritize what are the areas that we want to tackle, but it's a journey of continuous exploration and continuously working hand in hand with the clubs to improve the overall league.
Okay, and what is the ambition? I mean, what are the long-term objectives with all this plan? Which makes sense, no? You're looking at the business holistically and you're saying, these are my 4 pillars. For example, do you see the Saudi Pro League at some point competing with the top tier leagues in Europe, for example?
So I think our objective is not to compete or create a rivalry. Our approach is a democratic approach. We believe that we are contributing to the betterment of football globally. It's the #1 sport in the world, and we have a role to play in developing the game. And our focus is really about, first and foremost, building a competitive league for the love of the people in Saudi, and then exporting that league to the world. So we don't look at it, yes, we want to be among the best, but it's not really a rivalry. It's about how do we contribute to the overall football ecosystem.
Okay, and I guess to make a league sustainable, obviously getting like all the awareness is around you guys being able, as we said before, bringing top tier talent, but to make it sustainable, you need to develop the youth, right? The local talent. So how are you enabling that? I mean, what do you believe is, what should these upcoming Saudi football players learn from, all these stars that are coming to the league?
So I think today when we look at the number of professional foreign footballers that have joined the league, this has created a very competitive league within Saudi. So this definitely gives our local Saudi players the opportunity to exchange know-how and knowledge, but also raise their overall technical abilities and learn from some of the best footballers in the world. And it's an ongoing journey at the end of the day, but giving the opportunity to Saudi players to actually play with these superstars is a huge development element for them to learn, but also increases the competition and it raises the bar for players who need to fight for their positions and develop their technical skills. But like I said, it's a journey, and we've seen a lot of great results and a lot of young stars coming into the league, Saudi players that have actually been quite amazing on pitch.
Mm-hmm. I guess one question that comes up, because it is obvious, we cannot deny, there's a lot of people looking at the league and saying, well, this is purely driven by financial investment. There's not a vision behind it. So how do you respond to that? To those people that actually believe it's just about, quote unquote, the money, if you will?
I think people might or usually talk or give opinions about what they don't really know. And I think it's important that we continue to open our doors to welcome people to experience things firsthand. I think the work that is happening across the board when it comes to sport transformation and development is happening across the board. It's not only with the league. But like I mentioned, our approach to our transformation is really looking at every single aspect of the game. And I think once you come and see and you experience what's really happening on the ground, you will definitely leave with a completely different opinion and you will be a believer.
And to that point, Omar, I mean, what do you think the global audience, because all of this is a matter of perception at the end of the day, what do you think the global audience has not seen yet about the league? What do you wish they would see?
So I think, first of all, they're starting to see. So we see a lot of attraction in terms of, or curiosity in terms of the media, in terms of fans. If we look at the stadium composition today and people who are actually attending the matches, you see a lot of international fans there. But I think what I would definitely want to share and export is our love for the game, our passion for the game, how competitive our league is, and deeply ingrained football is within our society. And football is definitely, and the league is definitely a key vehicle to promote that.
Uh-huh. And I guess another part of that is actually being able to grow fan base, not only in Saudi, but also internationally, no? Because at the end of the day, today, football, well, today, since many years ago, football has been global. Leagues are starting to compete not only with other football leagues, but other forms of entertainment and other sports. So how are you tackling that? What strategies are in place to actually grow the fan base here in Saudi, but also internationally?
So we have a lot to do. And we're, like I mentioned, we're on a journey and we approach it, day by day. However, just to answer that question, the way we look at it is that football is beyond the 90 minutes. Yes, it's very important to have a very competitive competition, a very competitive league, to make sure that the 90 minutes are actually worthwhile for our fans. But it's also about what we do outside of the 90 minutes, telling the story of the players, of the club, of the league. And this is something that we've been actually very aggressive in driving today, telling the stories and the background and the history of clubs, following players, being much more active in terms of the content that we are creating to tell the story. And this is one element of it. There's also other more infrastructure related elements, like how do we improve the end-to-end fan experience, from ticketing to crowd management to facilities and services in the stadiums. But this is more of a long-term plan that we need to basically invest and put focus on. But everything is basically being considered to improve what we have on the ground, but also how do we attract more fans into the league.
Content is a key pillar in today's world. I mean, that's a reality, and that's what fans follow. And the reality is today fans follow probably more players than the clubs themselves. So I guess I'm wondering so when you are trying to see, or you're trying to, let's say, convince players from around the world to come to Saudi, is there like one message, one word, like one key theme that resonates most with them when you're trying to convince them that this is the place to continue their careers?
Yeah, I think it's definitely the reality of what we're going through. So if a player wants to be part of a unprecedented transformation, this is the league to be in. And the players actually buy into that vision. That's why we see a lot of interest from players who have moved and have transferred to the league, or actually want to transfer to the league. So that will be the reality of the situation.
Mm-hmm. And well, you said it, no? This is a journey. Every journey has its ups and downs. We've talked about the ups, the things that you're doing well. What do you feel is an area where the league still needs to improve?
So I think the number one focus that we have today is around fan experience. So how do we improve accessibility to the league, be it through stadium or on TV? How do we expand on how people consume the content and the storytelling of the league? And we've done a lot of partnerships this year to further expand the story. But also commercialization is a huge area of that. Ensures that we have a sustainable league that continues to grow and invests back into the game.
Uh-huh. And I guess I'm curious because if you take a step back, the reality is, Saudi Arabia is transforming the entire sports industry. There's impact across golf, across boxing, across football. What's the common pattern behind all of these, if you want to call them revolutions or transformations?
So I think I would summarize it in three words: vision, determination, and passion. And I think these are things that all of us as Saudis share in terms of how we want to drive development in Saudi. But most importantly, I think today we have unparalleled support from leadership to continue to develop different aspects of the country and more importantly, the sport itself. And this is what gives us the passion and energy to continue to drive forward and develop the game.
Mm-hmm. and which is actually those three pillars, vision, passion, determination are key to grow not just any sport business or any club, any business. But the reality is that, and you alluded to this before, no, but you need it to be profitable. And that's, I guess, why you're putting in place some mechanisms to ensure the sustainability from a financial perspective. I always say that sustainability has three pillars, which is the social, the environmental, and the financial. But specifically focusing on the financial, can you go into a little bit of the details on how you're approaching this? How you're going to make this league more sustainable?
So I think it has two sides. There's a side of making sure that there's strong, stringent financial governance, and we do that through the partnership with different entities within the ecosystem to make sure that we support and aid the clubs in making better financial decisions. But there's also the upside of the commercial and the revenue. And today, with all the interest that we're getting in the league, be it the league as a product or the individual clubs, this creates a lot of opportunity for clubs to actually monetize and generate more revenue. And the more we invest in the game, the more exposure we create, the more sustainable development we have in the league, the more interest will grow, and hence the clubs are going to be able to generate much more revenue. So it's a path of revenue growth that is coupled with very strong financial governance.
And I guess you're getting alignment across all for stakeholders, because that's key. So everybody's kind of like interested in, because this happens, is it a matter of growing the league, growing the club? So I don't know if there's any conversation around that, but I would assume it's alignment to grow the overall football product, right?
Yeah, I think today the league doesn't work in isolation of the whole football community in Saudi. We have a transformation journey that the league is doing. The federation is also doing in other entities, and that all feeds into a national football vision and strategy that every part has a role to play in the development of the game in Saudi. So again, it's a intricate strategy that's put together that everybody is moving in the same direction to make sure that we are developing the football day in and day out.
Mm-hmm. And despite being a journey, Omar, I mean, you've done a lot as a league, and the thing is you've been able to invest a lot. You've been able to grow, to bring top-tier talent. But some would say that there's still, this will happen at some point. There's no clear horizon. So what do you say to those that are actually believe it might happen, but it's going to take a long time? What would you say to those skeptics that don't believe that the reality is now?
So I would say that what people might perceive as impossible, we perceive as vision and ambition, and this is what has been driving us from day one. Everything that has happened in the past 2 years has been unprecedented in terms of speed, complexity, and the scale, and we're not backing down. We're continuing at the same passion, the same speed, the same energy, because we believe that we have a product that we need to invest in, a product that fans deserve to see it developing and growing. And we also believe that the world deserves a thriving Saudi football league.
Cool. Thank you. And actually, that's actually kind of ties with my question that I wanted to ask you now, because at the end of the day, I'm also a marketer, no? And I think it was Jeff Bezos that once said that the brand is something that people say about you when you're not in the room. So if we look 10 years from now, when people think of the Saudi Pro League, what do you hope they say?
Two things. One is it's the league to play at, so continuing attracting global top talent, but also nurturing local talent. And second, it's a league to watch and attend, meaning that we are developing a compelling storyline for people to be engaged and want to be part of the game.
Okay, thank you for that. And I guess I would say one final question. No, I mean, again, you've kind of in a very short time, because if you look, for example, at the Premier League, it took 30 years for them to become top-tier league. No, the Saudi Pro League, on a very short time, has been able to make an impact that everybody's watching. No, what do you think the rest of the football world can learn from this?
Definitely that anything is possible. If you put the right focus, the right resources, if you have an open mind to collaborating with different entities, inviting people into your growth journey, impossible becomes just a hurdle that you need to overcome. And I think that's exactly what we've been doing. We've been quite open with building relationships in the football world, be it with international leagues or even with the aid of our federation, really learning from the football community, learning from their highs and avoiding their lows, and really translating that into how we do things in Saudi. We're not looking at it in isolation. We look at it as how we contribute to the overall football community, and we constantly tap into different expertise across the globe. And I think this is one key aspect of our success so far, is that there are things that we know, we get better at. There are things that we don't know that we seek support from the wider football community.
Again, it's a journey, no? And journey is not linear. It always, you go back and forth. If I were to summarize, it's a journey to possibility at the end of the day. That's how I would summarize it. And I think that's kind of like the objective that we have with this summit, over the course of 2 days. I think it's a matter of, there's people from all over the world, more than almost 80 countries. I think we can all learn from each other.
Definitely.
Hopefully that happens. And encourage you, everybody here watching, first, well, thank you, but I encourage you to actually take this knowledge and let's make it all happen, right? So, Omar, this has been great. Thank you. I don't know if you have any last words that you want to share with the people watching around the world.
Yeah, well, I definitely invite everybody to come, if you're not physically here, to experience things firsthand, engage, interact with us, understand our story, understand where we're coming from and where we're heading. But also, I invite everybody to kind of extend their stay till the weekend and go watch a match or two and really experience things firsthand. I promise you will not be disappointed. And thank you all for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.